Agent Kilmer here, and I welcome you to my canon playthrough of the entire Dragon Age series. This is mostly for posterity on my sake, because the success of Dragon Age Inquisition virtually assured a sequel, and I've got to have my story up on my channel by that time, so now's as good a time as any to do it. So here we go. I am playing on 360 because that's what I have all the DLC on. So the unfortunate side effect of that is I cannot have the skip the fade mod. So that's one of the first things we'll be trying to get done. I just got through doing The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, which The Witcher 3 is my favorite game of all time. But I think Dragon Age is my current favorite series. It definitely is my favorite fantasy series overall. In books, video games, movies, TV, etc. Like it better than Song of Fire and Ice, better than The Witcher.
The Chantry teaches us that it is the hubris of men which brought the Darkspawn into our world. The mages had sought to usurp heaven, but instead they destroyed it. They were cast out, twisted and cursed by their own corruption. They returned as monsters, the first of the Darkspawn. They became a blight upon the lands, unstoppable and relentless. The Dwarven kingdoms were the first to fall, and from the deep roads, the Darkspawn drove at us again and again, until finally we neared annihilation. The Grey Wardens came. Men and women from every race, warriors and mages, barbarians and kings. The Grey Wardens sacrificed everything to stem the tide of darkness, and prevailed. It has been 4 centuries since that victory, and we have kept our vigil. We have watched and waited for the Darkspawn to return. But those who once called us heroes have forgotten. We are few now, and our warnings have been ignored for too long. For I have seen with my own eyes what lies on the horizon. Maker, help us all.
Duncan there gives us an extremely limited view of what Grey Wardens are, as we find out throughout the series. So this is my canon here. We go human, female, noble. Always a rogue in all 3 games. And for the name, we always go for this game, because I was a dedicated horde raider in Warcraft at the time. We always go Sylvanas.
Greetings.
It's been a good 3-4 years since I played through Dragon Age. Doesn't take long to. Character creator's pretty generic in Origins.
I've lost concentration. Greetings. Greetings.
Human gets an extra talent at the start, too. And the combat on this game is, well, it's pretty good on the PC, but where you have the tactical menu, but on console it's terrible, so we just want to blow through the combat and play for the story. And we'll be doing all the relevant DLC for all the games. Like, I won't be doing Golems of Amgarok for this, but I will do the expansion Awakenings, and I'll probably do Witch Hunt.
Your family, the Couslands, has stewarded the lands of Highever, earning the loyalty of your people with justice and temperance.
How'd that kid get up there?
When your country was occupied by the Orlesian Empire, your father and grandfather served the embattled kings of your land. Today, your elder brother takes up House Cousland's banner in service to the crown, not against the men of Orlais, but against the bestial darkspawn rising in the south.
I trust then that your troops will be here shortly.
I expect they will start arriving tonight, and we can march tomorrow. I apologize for the delay, my lord. This is entirely my fault.
No. The appearance of the Darkspawn in the south has us all scrambling, doesn't it? I only received the call from the king a few days ago myself. I'll send my eldest off with my men. You and I will ride tomorrow just like the old days.
True, but we both had less grey in our hair then. And we fought Orlesians, not monsters.
At least the smell will be the same. I'm sorry, Pop, I didn't see you there. How, you remember my daughter?
I see she's become a lovely young woman. Pleased to see you again, my dear.
The last game in the era of the silent protagonist
My son Thomas asked after you. Perhaps I should bring him with me next time. Good. My son saw you at a Denerim fair, and has talked about you ever since. He'll be pleased you remember him.
At any rate, Pup, I summoned you for a reason. While your brother and I are both away, I'm leaving you in charge of the castle. Now, that's what I'd like to hear. Only a token force is remaining here, and you must keep peace in the region. You know what they say about mice when the cat is away, yes? There's also someone you must meet. Please, show Duncan.
It is an honor to be a guest within your hall, Thedas Cousland.
Your lordship, you didn't mention that a Grey Warden would be present.
Duncan arrived just recently, unannounced. Is there a problem?
Of course not. But a guest of this stature demands certain protocol. I am at a disadvantage.
We rarely have the pleasure of seeing one in person, that's true. Pup, Brother Aldous taught you who the Grey Wardens are, I hope.
Our character is highly intelligent, highly diplomatic, but can be tough when they need to be.
Not permanently, I fear.
Without their warning of the Darkspawn rising now, half the nation could have been overrun before we'd had a chance to react. Duncan is looking for recruits before joining us and his fellow wardens in the south. I believe he's got his eye on Sir Gilmore.
If I might be so bold, I would suggest that your daughter is also an excellent candidate.
Honor though that might be, this is my daughter we're talking about.
You did just finish saying that Grey Wardens are heroes, old friend.
I've not so many children that I'll gladly see them all off to battle. Unless you intend to invoke the right of conscription.
Have no fear. While we need as many good recruits as we can find, I've no intention of forcing the issue.
Pup, can you ensure that Duncan's requests are seen to while I'm gone? In the meantime, find Fergus, and tell him to lead the troops to Ostagar ahead of me. Upstairs in his chambers, no doubt, spending some last moments with his wife and my grandson. Be a good lass and do as I've asked. We'll talk soon.
And our Turner, as it is the second most powerful in the country. Gotta get used to the controls again here.
The task is finished.
And that is why we pick a rogue. Any game, Fallout, anything. I see a locked chest.
Good evening, milady.
I want to be able to unlock it. And with the door.
Now. Finished.
I wish they had it this way in Inquisition instead of that spamming the search button.
It is over. I am done.
And I notice most people that play Dragon Age play their characters as kind of non-believers, but I tend to play mine the opposite. Kind of pious.
Maker, prepare a place for us. Redeem our world from sin. Forgive our transgressions.
Maker, forgive us all!
Have you come to pray for your brother and father? I'd be happy to ask for the Maker's blessings with you. Please, child, Call me Malol. I've known you since you were a wee babe after all. Creator of the sky, the land, and the sea. Hear your people in our time of need. Let no man have cause to fear the shadows. Let their souls be lifted upon your return. So let it be. There now. I'll be keeping a vigil tonight. You're welcome to come. There are many more who must receive the Maker's blessings before they leave. If you would excuse me. It is the least I could do. If the worst comes to pass, child, take comfort in knowing that the Maker's will takes many forms. We shall talk once the soldiers have departed.
Chris, you're gonna hear the words Andraste and the Maker. Probably more times than you're gonna hear about any other word in the games. Religion's more important to this world than I'd say any other fantasy world. It's more important than the Game of Thrones world, the Witcher's world.
The task is finished. What? Now? Finished.
Oh, my lady, we were just, Well, the treasury's safe. I'm not even sure why the Terran stationed us here. We appreciate that, my lady. Thank you.
There you are. Your mother told me the Terran had summoned you, so I didn't want to interrupt. I fear your hound has the kitchens in uproar once again, and is threatening to leave. No matter how the maids try to keep him out, he always finds a way in. You know these Mabari hounds. He'll listen to his mistress, but anyone else risks having an arm bitten off. That would be wise, before Nan tears down the walls. You're quite lucky to have your own Mabari warhound, you know. Smart enough not to talk, my father used to say. Of course, that means he's easily bored. Nan swears he confounds her just to amuse himself. At any rate, your mother would have me accompany you until the matter is settled, shall we? Just follow the yelling. When Nan's unhappy, she makes sure everyone knows it.
We also miss our dog in Inquisition.
It is over.
Does seem a bit odd looting our own castle. This is our stuff anyways. Why loot it?
Get that bloody mutt out of the larder.
But mistress, it won't let us near.
If I can't get into that larder, I'll skin both of you useless elves, I swear it.
Calm down, good woman. We've come to help.
You and you! Your bloody mongrel keeps getting into my larder. That beast should be put down. If I locked it any tighter, we couldn't get in.
Oh dear. Mistress, calm down, please.
That's it. I'll quit. Inform the turner. I'll go and cook at some nice estate in the Banorn.
Nan, please. We'll get the dog. Calm down.
Just get him gone. I've enough to worry about with a castle full of hungry soldiers. You two, stop standing there like idiots. Get out of the way.
Got a lot of race issues that are dealt with in this, similar to The Witcher, too.
Oh, look at that mess. How did he even get in here?
That's what I do with my dog.
Oh, encourage the hound, why don't you? No wonder he keeps giving Nan fits. He does seem like he's trying to tell you something. Wait, did you hear that?
This is my sister's dog name, which is my current favorite dog in the house.
Let us dispatch them, and quickly! I shall do it. Very well. As you say. I shall do it. It is begun. It shall be done.
Serves you right! Got one! Giant rats? It's like the start of every bad adventure tale my grandfather used to tell. Your hound must have chased them in through their holes. Looks like he wasn't raiding the larder after all.
The blood, that's the Dragon Age trademark.
Those were rats from the Kokari Wilds. Best not to tell Nan. She's upset enough as it is. But seeing as you've got your Mabari well in hand, I'll be on my way. I'm to prepare for the arrival of more of the Jarl's men.
It's a dog you will never use in a party. Ever. Unfortunately.
There he is, as brazen as you please, licking his chops after helping himself to the roast, no doubt.
What? Rats? Not the large grey ones?
They'll rip you to shreds, they will!
See, now you've gone and scared the servants. I expect those filthy things are dead. Oh, I bet that dog led those rats into there to begin with. Oh, don't even start with the sad eyes. I'm immune to your so-called charms. Here then, take these pork bits and don't say that Nan never gives you anything. Bloody dog. Thank you, my lady. Now we can get to work. That's right, you two. Quit standing about. Thank you again for your help. Now, if you'll just hold on a moment. Yes? Adney, get moving with those casts. And Kath, do you think you can serve that to the turn with dirt from the floor all over it?
Miserable old bat.
Old bat, am I? We've got to work double time on supper, sweep out the hearths, and no complaining.
Have you considered whipping them? That's the psycho warden response there.
Just keeping order. That's why your father keeps me on. The good maker knows I needn't take care of you anymore. Thank you for coming to your old nanny's rescue. That blasted hound is more trouble than he's worth. He is. Don't start with me. You've gotten all you're getting today. But what about you, my lady? Been keeping safe and well behaved, I hope? Good. I'm not exactly privy to your goings-on now that you're grown. Just an old nanny, never invited to your father's fancy meetings. Do you remember that bedtime tale I used to tell you, the dog that bit? Yes, this again. You remember how it begins? A warhound was born to the elder bitch of a tribal chief. They named him Hahaku and gave him everything. He grew up a fine, strong pup, destined to be the partner of the chief's eldest son. The young hound became arrogant, taking food from his kin and warning them, in the way of dogs, that the chief's family would punish them if they tried to attack him. Years passed, and the time for the chief's son to take a warhound came closer. Hahaku's pride swelled, and many of the people of the tribe came to the chief, quietly whispering of this dog's bullying. With each complaint, the chief saw only Hahaku's strength and pride, and sent his people away. But as his son grew, the chief watched more closely. The day might come when his boy's life would depend on this dog. If the humblest of his people would not trust Hahaku, how could he? When the day came, Hahaku sat proudly waiting to be called, but the old chief chose Hahaku's brother as his son's hound. Hahaku was shamed, but felt no remorse. So great was his rage that he darted across the fire pit and bit the chief's hand. The chief and his son struck at Hahaku, cursing him. The hound ran into the village, seeking shelter in the tents and kennels. The other dogs snapped at him, and the tribe's people threw stones at him. Before the chief could reach him, the tribe had torn Hahaku apart. Now, what should you carry from this tale? True. Hahaku thought nothing of abusing the tribe and their dogs, but their complaints showed the chief he could not be trusted. But you're far too old now for an old woman to be reminding you to watch how you behave, It's a story worth repeating. That's all. Be off with you then. Tell your brother farewell before he rides off to war.
Gotta get all these codex entries.
Hello, my dear girl. By chance, I am beginning to teach these young squires about your family's history.
Do we have to? History is boring.
Boys, you are referring to the Couslands, the very family in whose castle you live. Show some respect. Perhaps you could help me with that. Might you join me in teaching this lesson?
Why not?
Wonderful. Oh, the Cousland history is long indeed. Where shall we start? Records are vague, but the Couslands became Tierns during the Black Age. Is that familiar, child?
That's why we have cunning right there. It's the intelligence check in this game.
Good. I'm pleased some of my lessons seem to have stuck. At that time, your family held only the minor title of Ban. When the werewolves reached this area, Ban Mather Cousland organized a curfew and patrols within the city. Several other local bands supported his efforts by swearing oaths of fealty, making him their Tiern. Well, I'm glad some of my lessons don't disappear into that yawning chasm between your ears, young lady. If I were truly a skilled tutor, I suspect I would not encounter such insouciance amongst my pupils. You can look that up later. At any rate, your family has held the tournure of High Ever since before King Callan had united Ferelden. In fact, Tierna Elathea Cousland battled Callan to maintain High Ever's independence. Callan wished to unite Ferelden, not conquer it. After Elathea's men were defeated, Callan asked her to swear fealty. The boulder where they held council still stands today as a memorial of that event.
Uh-oh. the joys of the 360. Sorry about that.
The Couslands are ardent royalists now, but at that time, Calenhad was unknown and considered dangerous by many. When Calenhad's army reached Highever, Tierna Elethea led the local bands against him. Obviously, Calenhad won. The history between the Couslands and the House reaches back to the Orlesian occupation. During your grandfather's rule, of course, Orlais found it difficult to hold these lands. During the rebellion against Orlais, several battles were fought near Highever. The port village of Harper's Ford was the tournier's center. Its Arl was Tarleton Howe. Though nearly 90, he was still as sharp and bitter as cheap ale. Your grandfather openly supported the rebellion, but Howe sided with Orlais. Your family was forced to seize Harper's Ford before it was all over. Correct. That caused a rift between the two families, as you might imagine. The Howes eventually joined the rebellion, when all of Ferelden united behind King Merrick and General Loghain, just as now we united behind Merrick's son, King Cailan, to fight the Darkspawn. Thank you for indulging an old man.
Does that mean we have to listen to you now?
Silence! I will not have you two becoming smart-mouthed hooligans. Perhaps you should go. I doubt they need any more distraction. I'm just going to settle in here and apparently just talk to myself for all the good I'm doing. Don't ask myself all this one. Do you do this one?
Ferelden is almost kind of a Gaul compared to Orlais. Just a untamed land.
And my dear Bryce bought this back from Orlais last year. The Marquis who gave it to him was drunk, I understand, and mistook Bryce for the king. Ah, here is my lovely daughter. I take it by the presence of that troublesome hound of yours that the situation in the kitchen is handled? You've always had a way with her. Darling, you remember Lady Landra, Ban Lawrence's wife?
I think we last met at your mother's spring salon.
Ban Loren is the name we will revisit in Dragon Age Inquisition.
You're too kind, dear girl. Didn't I spend half the salon trying to convince you to marry my son?
And made a very poor case for it, I might add.
You remember my son, Dyron. He's not married yet either.
Don't listen to her. It's good to see you again, milady. You're looking as beautiful as ever.
And this is my lady-in-waiting, Iona. Do say something, dear.
It is a great pleasure, my lady. You are as pretty as your mother describes.
You would think that it would make it easier to make a match for her, not more difficult.
Perhaps your daughter simply has a mind of her own, your ladyship. You should be proud.
Proud doesn't get me any more grandchildren. All evidence to the contrary.
I think perhaps I shall rest now, my dear. Dyron, I will see you and Iona at supper.
Perhaps we'll retire to the study for now.
Good evening, your ladyship.
You should say goodbye to Fergus while you have the chance. Yes, your father mentioned that. You haven't got it into your head that you want to be recruited. There's enough here at the castle to occupy you. I don't need you off chasing danger like your brother. I know it's difficult to stay in the castle and watch others ride off, but we must see to our duties first. You understand that, don't you? It's in the Maker's hands now, and we must cope as best we can. If he's not out with his men, probably upstairs with Oriana. As do I. Your father and brother are marching off to fight Maker knows what. All the assurances in the world don't comfort me. But it wouldn't help for us to take up arms and follow. Fergus and your father have their duty, and we have ours. For a few days. Then I'll travel with Lady Landra to her estate, and keep her company for a time. Your father thinks my presence here might undermine your authority. Don't worry, my dear. It won't be long. If he's not out with his men, probably upstairs with Oriana.
Well, I already asked that one, I believe.
Love you, my darling girl. You know that, don't you? Go do what you must, then. I will see you soon.
Impossible.
Is there really going to be a war, Papa? Will you bring me back a sword?
That sword, Oren, and I'll get you the mightiest one I can find, I promise. I'll be back before you know it.
I wish victory was indeed so certain. My heart is disquiet.
Don't frighten the boy, love. I speak the truth. And here's my little sister to see me off. Now dry your eyes, love, and wish me well. When there's a man in your life, you'll understand. One day you'll meet someone who can handle you. Mark my words.
Really? Was he riding a griffin?
Shh, Oren. Griffins only exist in stories now.
I'd heard that. Did he say why he's come? Oh, if I were a Grey Warden, little sister, I'd have my eye on you. Not that Father would ever allow it. I wish you could come. It'll be tiring killing all those Darkspawn myself.
In Antiva, a woman fighting in battle would be unthinkable.
Is that so? I always heard Antivan women were quite dangerous.
With kindness and poison only, my husband.
This from the woman who serves me my tea. Word from the south is that the battles have gone well. There's no evidence that this is a true blight, just a large raid.
Could that be true?
I'll see for myself soon enough. Pray for me, love, and I'll be back within a month or two. If it's any consolation, I'm sure I'll freeze in the southern rain and be completely jealous of you up here, warm and safe.
I am positively thrilled that you will be so miserable, husband.
Then the Arl's men are delayed. You'd think his men were all walking backwards. Well, I'd better get underway. So many Darkspawn to behead, so little time. Off we go then. I'll see you soon, my love.
I would hope, dear boy, that you plan to wait for us before taking your leave.
Be well, my son. I will pray for your safety every day you are gone.
I keep telling you, no Darkspawn will ever best me.
The Maker sustain and preserve us all. Watch over our sons, husbands and fathers, and bring them safely back to us.
And bring us some ale and wenches while you're at it. For the men, of course.
Fergus, you would say this in front of your mother?
What's a wench? Is that what you pull on to get the bucket out of the well?
A wench is a woman that pours the ale in a tavern, Oren. Or a woman who drinks a lot of ale.
Bryce, Maker's breath. It's like living with a pair of small boys. Thankfully, I have a daughter.
I'll miss you, mother dear. You'll take care of her, sister, won't you?
Oh, good. How thrilling to know I'm so well taken care of.
Enough, enough. Pup, you'll want to get an early night. You've much to do tomorrow.